Welcome back. In the last episode, we traveled to Botswana and we got it right by looking at the cars driving on the left, people having a dark skin, names being signs being in English but with a local color and some unfamiliar geographic names. Edited all together, guessed it was somewhere in South Africa and picked Botswana based on a cryptic acronym BFS. We thought, why couldn't B stand for Botswana? Still don't know what BFS means, but the guess ended up being correct, and it was a pretty satisfying outing. I was really excited when I looked at the map and confirmed my guess. Let's take the next trip and see how it goes. Hey Siri, start the timer for 10 minutes. Hey Siri, please start the timer for 10 minutes.
There's already a 10-minute timer, but I can set another. What should I name the new one?
Okay, there's a timer. Um,
Sorry, I missed that. There's already a 10-minute timer,
Shut
but
up.
I can set another. What should I name the new one?
Skip. It's not-
10-minute skip timer. Counting down.
Oh boy. Not sure. I think we have two timers running, but at least one of them. The first time, when the first timer goes, that's it. All right. Who thinks we may be in Europe? Who thinks we may be in England? Who thinks this may be the Atlantic Ocean? Could of course be just a cloud or a lake. If that's land over the water, then it is not the Atlantic Ocean, but rather a lake or an inlet of sorts. Let's get moving and see what those buildings are up on the hill, and we should be able to form a more educated opinion or guess. Sometimes I can skip a few frames ahead, sometimes I can't. Sometimes I have to go frame by frame. There's a Mitsubishi van behind the gate. So far, could be more or less anywhere in the world, but looks more European than other places we often get sent to. Something about the architecture, the color of the grass, if you will, the general look and feel of the landscape. And I'm sorry I cannot skip 3 frames ahead. Yeah, when I get this blue circle ahead, that means I can go more than one frame ahead and we get somewhere sooner than otherwise. And is that a sheep? Probably. So yeah, there is a coast of sorts. It could well be Atlantic or another coast of a sea or an ocean. It's just that it looked like I may have seen land on the horizon beyond the water. Um, all right, there's a sign and it's super low res, even without Google's nasty habit of blurring out signs. This probably says warning. This is probably an English speaking country and it could well be Great Britain or Ireland, for example. I don't recall having been to Great Britain and I certainly have not been to Ireland. So we'll see. We'll see what we find out. Would be nice to see what side of the road people drive on. So far, don't see anybody moving around. Friend of mine watched these episodes and he says I moved ahead too much and too fast. So I'm conscious of that. I recorded the first 100 or so episodes without any hope or intent or clarity as to whether I will ever show them to anybody. And now that people are looking at them, thank you very much. I will try to be more conscious of how they play out. I know it's not nearly as much fun watching them on YouTube as they are actually being there in VR on my Oculus. So much easier to say Meta Quest. I heartily recommend, wholeheartedly, wholeheartedly recommend the device and the app to anyone who is into virtual travel, fitness, puzzle games, um, quests. There are some first person shooters, though they're a little scary. I try to avoid them. And there are some games where you move around virtually, and the illusion is so complete that you get a vertigo. I don't know if vertigo is the word, but you get nauseous and you get seasickness. Sorry, motion sickness, because what your body is experiencing, which is nothing. You're sitting on a couch, standing at best. What your body experiences does not match what your brain experiences through your sight, which is a complete immersion. So, if you get used to or avoid those games that make you motion sick, and I do, then having a VR device is a total blast. And I like nothing better than this app Wonder, which uses obviously Google Street View. You get the Google logo everywhere, especially when it takes a while to resolve on a slower connection. It's pretty prominent in the frame. So there's no question as to what we're looking at, but how we look at it is, yeah, it feels that I'm on this road, let's say in England or somewhere in Great Britain, walking up the road, a little jerkily. It has a setting for smooth movement, for smooth transition from frame to frame, but I turned it off because even if it plays out on a video, experiencing it gives me the same motion sickness because it's just too real. So I like the jerky motion being there. Obviously, it does not translate that well to video, but hey, it's not necessarily about the look of these reels. They're very, very much homemade and low production values. I understand that. Hopefully, it's more about the content and maybe listening to my reasoning as to how I find my way around the world. This is so devoid of any signs in any language that I had to talk about VR experience in general and about basically my life rather than what I'm seeing. There's not a whole lot. Here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy. We saw these very light green bales a couple trips ago in a field, certainly in Europe. I think in Switzerland. So, did Europe already standardize on bales? Everybody uses the same exact bales, the same machines, the same materials, and everybody's bales look the same? Because if I'm going on the look of these bales alone, I have to say Switzerland. But the blurry word which I took to mean warning would be English. Still not a single car driving on either side of the road. If it was the sea we were looking at, then it would not be Switzerland, though Switzerland has a few of large lakes, or at least one large lake, which in German the word for lake and sea is the same, it's See. So those lakes may look like sea from a certain angle. Okay, let's see. Aha. Soul agent. Okay. So we're probably in Britain. I would say Great Britain just because it's larger in territory than Ireland. What I meant to say, we are in the that part of the world, Great Britain and Ireland, Northern Ireland or Ireland proper. Roy White, Soul Agent. Signs like this, Soul Agent just sounds more British than American. We're not in the United States, and can we be in any other English-speaking part of the world? Maybe, but this just looked like Britain from the get-go. I'm going to say Great Britain if I don't see anything else, if I don't see a car driving. Now, funny thing, if I see a car driving here, it will probably be driving in the middle of the street. Although if it's coming at us, it will have to take a side, and that would be a great hint. Um, can anybody tell me if the cars drive on the correct side? Here they are. If the car drives on the correct side of the road in Ireland, because that. Hey, come on, cars! Don't do this to me. That was my big chance. Let's backtrack. Backtrack, backtrack, backtrack. Okay. Here the car's coming at me. All right. They will either go. Why is this happening? This was going to be. How did this happen and why? Okay, if I go a little bit further. Okay. They are going to pass me on the proper side. Well, um, what's your name? Hey Siri, stop the timer. Hey Siri, stop the timer. Hey Siri, stop the timer. Son of a gun. Let me see if I can feel my phone and tap something on it to shut up. Okay. What I'm saying is the cars are passing me on the correct side, proper side, not British side. So if I said everything I said, if I believe everything I said, I will have to say that this is Ireland, and then I would have to actually learn if people in Ireland drive on the right as they do. Now, wait a second. What am I saying? No, no, no. They are. No, they are driving on the British side, right? They're passing me on the wrong side, on the British side. I should be on the right. They should be on the left. But here I am on the left. Okay, Great Britain. No. No. Oh, what a letdown. I mean, it's great. It's the first trip to New Zealand. Ay, 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 ay. Kind of like polar opposite. The antipodal side of the word of the world. It's the British who took to calling Australia antipodes because people in Australia walk upside down according to the British with their antipods. Get it? Anti feet, opposite feet. Ay, 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 ay. What a miss. New Zealand, not Great Britain. And people in New Zealand drive on the left, so that's established. And let's drop a bookmark and hope we do better on the next trip. Thanks for watching.